Hey, welcome to What's in the Box. So far in the Neca Universal Monsters line, I have reviewed Frankenstein and the Mummy. I do have the Wolfman, and I've put that review off for far too long, and that's coming up. But I am super happy to have Neca's version of the Invisible Man from Universal Monsters. This movie had a huge effect on me when I saw it, and I didn't see it that long ago, probably about 5 years ago. And it was quite interesting to see the type of effects that they could pull off even as far back as 1933. So we'll dive into this box, the figure, and we'll talk about the movie coming up. So as I mentioned, I watched The Invisible Man for the first time about 5 or 6 years ago. And I was quite shocked at what they could do so long ago. From invisible effects to moving objects to footprints in the snow. It was a revelation to me that something from 1933 could pull off all these things and still be quite good. I low-key love this character. You'll hear me talk about the creature from the Black Lagoon and the Wolfman more than any other, but he is quite interesting, not just for the effects alone, but for the story that is kind of woven throughout the movie of a man discovering something that absolutely drives him insane. And of course, that would be the invisible potion, as you can see right here. Neca has provided that, and it's quite cool little clear jar with the potion inside and a metal stir stick. Quite nice addition to the figure. Let's get into the accessories before we get to the figure itself. You have quite a bit here. If there was ever an ultimate anything, this is definitely the ultimate Invisible Man. There's so much to go through here. Of course, you've seen the potion. You have his head with goggles already. You have a spare pair of goggles. Those are quite nice. They're kind of a gray color, black lenses, and a bit of silver around the edges. Pretty cool. And they have a rubbery effect, so they can slip on and off on one of these heads. You have a wig, because obviously he's going to wear a wig to get past people and to pass himself off as normal. You have a semi-unwrapped head. This is very, very cool how they pulled this off. It's just basically a neck peg that looks like bandaging, a gap here, and that's glued into the back of the head. This is used in the scene where the cops infiltrate him in, I believe it was like the room above the pub, something like that. And he's partially unwrapping himself the moment they invade. Of course, you also have what's one of the creepier heads. No nose, mouth, or eyes. And I'm sure this is the head you can use the goggles on. He even happens to come with, it's very difficult to deal with here, but a tiny, tiny nose. Not only do you get that nose, you get two spares in this set. I think you can combine all this on this one particular head if you wanted to. You do also get his formula book. I'm sure these diagrams and mathematical equations equate to the potion that he created to become invisible. It's a nice little book, open book. It can't be closed. Kind of a green back and a nice furl of pages here with all kinds of writing in it. Nice little addition. Now, aside from these two fists that he has on on the figure. He has several other gloved and medical gloved hands. These are mostly gripping hands from what I can tell here. You have this pair, which looks to be able to hold the potion in one hand, possibly the book in the other, or some variation of that. You also have another hand that's medical gloved that could hold any one of these items as well. They do provide you with a couple gloved hands. These look like driving gloves. One's just a simple open palm hand you can see here, and the other is a type of holding hand. I'm not sure what that would even be used for, but still really well done. The leather's done well. They all look great. I don't see a stitch of paint that's off on this whole Ultimate figure here. You get down to the character himself. He has a nice pair of gray slacks, black boots, yellow medical gloved hands, sort of a blue-gray, blue-black overcoat, and of course his poor little wrapped noggin. These are all done really well. Nothing is out of place as far as I'm concerned. The paint is quite good, and it does capture the character quite well. Articulation wise, all the standard stuff, although that's as far as you can get on the T-pose. He does have elbow articulation, wrist articulation as well, although it's a little stiff. He does have some up and down movement as well. There's some movement at his waist. Of course, the typical head turn, it's about 360 actually if you wanted to go that route. He isn't the Exorcist, but he could be. And then you get down to hip articulation, knee. There's really only side to side in the boots. So there you have it. It's a fairly quick review, but so many great little pieces and so many options. If you bought another one of these, obviously you could do various versions. I mean, to be honest, you could pop the hands off and pretend those are invisible, put on this particular head, and say he's essentially unwrapping himself for a quiet night in. Again, I love the movie. I love the effects. One of the things that blew my mind at the time was the footsteps in the snow effect. It was just like, how in the world would they have pulled off something like that back in 1933? And I actually started researching it, and it's hilariously simple. They simply had sheets of, I guess, what would be plywood with footprints cut out. And underneath that, slots of wood that would cover the holes that were the footprints. And so they put all this snow on top of that, and as they wanted to make the steps, someone would remove a slat of wood, and the snow would fall, half an inch or an inch below, and it would look like there's a footprint. And then someone else would pull another, there's a footprint, and it would go on and on, back and forth. And it was a really effective way to make it look like someone who was invisible was walking in the snow. And that's just one great example of what they pulled off in this movie. And if you haven't seen it, go out, take a look at it, see it in a local theater that might play it one Halloween, or buy it on Blu-ray. I know 4K editions of most of these movies are out now. But yes, I would definitely suggest, if you're a monster fan, black and white film fan, any kind, just go out and watch this classic. It's really worth your time. And the figure is also worth your time. Again, about $37 to $40 depending on where you buy it. It's available most places. This one came from Big Bad Toy Store, and I'm sure Walmart and a number of other stores will have it soon. So check it out, and as always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.